So we're back on Get Down to Business, the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. We are powered by our good friends at Tandem HR, your solutions center. You can find them online, tandemhr.com, or give them a call, 630-928-0510. So I'm thrilled to be joined by our returning guest, Linda Nicholls of IMC Solutions. And Linda, it's great to have you back in the studio.
Great to be here.
Of course. So one of the beautiful things about having you is, aside for having your presence here in studio that lights up the station every time we have you on Sundays, is you bring a wealth of knowledge from the industry. And I know that there's quite a bit of new information that has just come in the world of executive recruiting about the up-and-coming industries, which I found fascinating. So I wanted to talk to you about it this evening to learn a little bit about where are there hiring trends right now, where should our listeners be on the lookout, and how can they stand out from the rest?
Wow. Always a loaded question, usually 3 questions in one for me.
There you go. That's right. So tell us a little bit about what are the industries to watch.
Well, the hot industries for a second year, although there's been some movement and some change, certainly is going to be healthcare, technology. A surprise is the upswing in manufacturing.
Interesting, and I know that we've had the conversation about sort of the skills gap, and it's interesting. I know you're retained by many of your clients to help them find people. It perhaps a few years ago it was folks that were looking for jobs and struggling. Now companies are struggling looking for people.
That is absolutely true. In fact, just giving some reflection to the current market, I realize that I have not seen a job market this hot in nearly 10 years.
Interesting. So let's talk about what kinds of jobs. I know when I sort of teased this in, I mentioned executive recruiters and executive hiring, but really it's across the board. It's entry-level positions in these industries of healthcare, technology, and manufacturing. But it's also, it sounds like your research and your reports are indicating that it's also the executive positions as well.
It truly is all across the board. Tremendous amount of new opportunities and movement from middle management, directors, VPs, and even up from there.
So one of the numbers on the report, which I'm fascinated by, is in 2016, internet and e-commerce was the fifth largest or fifth hottest industry, and it's now down to number 9. Why do you think that is?
I truly don't know, except that it could be because there could be some saturation point, and it could also be because the development, meaning the development in numerous new apps, takes precedence over there. I don't know that there has been a lot of technological changes in internet technology per se, but rather the applications and how they're being used is where the hot development is.
So what does this mean for job seekers in these industries? What should they be doing to I guess they have their pick. But what advice do you have for the job seekers? And then let's switch over to the employer side in terms of how they can deal with this information.
Well, candidates, the job seekers certainly should have their resume dusted off, up to date. And
that's for all industries.
For all industries, absolutely. Pay attention to what's out there. A lot of research 2 years ago, we knew that 2016, 2017 was going to be a lot of significant job movement on the part of job seekers. My current research says 1 in 5 are going to move this year. So it's a matter of looking at opportunity and really honing in on where do you want to take your career? Do you want to just change jobs, or do you want career movement that's going to propel your career forward?
Linda, how long do most people stay in their job?
3 to 7 years is what I'm seeing. Those people that move more rapidly than that can have some career falls. If you look at a 10-year span, those professionals that change jobs twice or maybe 3 times in that 10-year period tend to be the most successful and moving up in their careers. If you move more frequently than that, you may be making many lateral moves, not necessarily forward moves.
So companies that are hiring, whether it's in these industries that we mentioned, again, to recap, it sounds like your research is indicating healthcare, technology, and manufacturing are the hottest industries. And certainly there's a lot of interesting information that's available, and we'll share your contact information so our listeners can discuss it if they choose to do so. But companies need to work really hard to find talent, but also to retain talent as well, because as you just mentioned, people are leaving. And there's demand for good talent.
That's absolutely true.
What advice do you have for a company in terms of working with a recruiter, in terms of standing out from the rest of the bunch?
Well, as always, have a clear idea of what you want an individual role what you want the role to be, what tasks and functions are part of the performance there.
Be strategic.
Be strategic, but also be clear on the tactical
Sure.
as well. I think when companies fall apart or maybe individual managers fall apart and employees are confused would be when their job descriptions are not clear,
Sure.
when they're not sure what they're responsible for.
Well, Linda, if I had you for an hour, I know we'd have an hour of content to talk about on this subject, but we will have you back. Linda Nicholls of IMC Solutions. I know our listeners will have questions. How can they get a hold of you? Where can they call you?
They can call me at 630-637-6200 and our website, imcsolutions.com.
So easy to remember. IMC Solutions, a fantastic resource. But coming up after the break, we will be talking with our guests who will talk to us a little bit about the vaccine wars and how that is affecting professionals and businesses alike. We'll be right back on Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Don't touch that dial, Chicago. We'll be returning in just a moment.
Great